30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on our Love 101 Facebook and YouTube. You can also call our studio lines 876-968-8327 or 968-8328 to participate. Throughout the program, we'll share your thoughts. So I'll hand it back over to my wonderful co-host. Boy, we're good to have the ladies, you know. I feel so good today.
Are you the single thorn among the roses, O'Neill?
No, I'm the bright rose among the rest of the. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out.
All right, figure it out, figure it out. Okay, so our guest, Patricia Clark, will be coming with us, but for now we have Sharnette. Now, Sharnette, Patricia Wall, sorry. So, Sharnette, hi, nice to meet you. I
Hi.
want us to jump right into it. What exactly is retirement and what is the retirement age in Jamaica? Because some people don't know this, you know. Some people believe that they can work all their lives in the government work, and apparently it may not be at all.
In our work. So, well, retirement is a fund that we should all be contributing to. So, when we have worked all our years, this is money that we're going to be using to sustain us, to cover our basic necessities, or even for some of us to, travel. So it would have been money that would have been contributing by you, your employer, if you're self-employed, just you. And of course, it would have been gaining some interest through compound interest. And that would be available to you at the retirement age, which is age 65. However, retirement can be accessed whether it is through death or a disability.
Okay.
So old age, disability, or death, that is when you access your retirement fund.
So not before, not when you're in trouble and you need some extra funds.
No. That is your investments and your savings.
Oh my. Oh
Yes.
my. That's a different argument altogether, right, O'Neill?
Yes,
Completely
my
Complete
dear.
different argument. Complete different argument.
So
Go ahead.
however, whatever age you started working, in which I am encouraging everyone, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, that start contributing to your pension at age 18, even if you're still in university.
Oh, that's early.
Compound interest is our friend. So my first son will be 16 next month. So he has 2 years in which to start contributing, even if it is $100 through the NIS, because the NIS is the foundation for financial planning. Your pension is the foundation through financial planning, because that is going to be the benefit that you're going to need if it is that you're unable to work, if you're not marketable, if a disability occur, and if then your beneficiaries would be able to have that pension.
So note well, listeners, viewers, make sure that you're paying your NIS. Please make sure that you're giving it. We understand that the taxes can feel kind of hard and like they're squeezing you, but it's important for you to actually pay the NIS. But I know you said that retirement is at age 65. Is it any at all possible, O'Neill, you think we can retire early? Because it sounds nice enough. But you
It
see, when
sounds
you're,
nice.
you know, it,
Um,
it, it doesn't look very possible sometimes.
to me, it
There
kind
are
of
pros
goes.
and cons.
To me, it kind of goes into what, um, funnily enough, Shannon and I spoke about previously. Basically, having a number of eggs in the basket, not just relying on one thing. So it has to be from that standpoint. I personally have an issue with the NIS thing overall at the back end, but that's another story. I think what that covers or doesn't cover is a big issue. And that's for a whole show that we'll have to bring Sharon it back for again,
And
right?
the NIS.
Right? So that's a third show. Sharon, so prepare yourself. Producer, I know you're listening in, right?
Yes. But
But
I didn't want to leave it at NIS, and remember, say it is the foundation. So you would have had the
yes.
superannuation fund with your employer. So
Right.
that is where you, the employee, contribute, and the employer would match the amount that you're contributing. And I'm encouraging, since we're talking about early retirement, you have to contribute the maximum in order to achieve that, which is 20%.
Wow.
Now, if it is that you are employed, but the employers are not contributing to a superannuation fund,
Right.
then it is that you can access what is called an ARS, which is an approved retirement scheme, where as an entrepreneur or persons who are self-employed, and again, if your company is not contributing to a superannuation, you can contribute to that fund. It acts as similarly to the superannuation. The government of Jamaica said we can only have one. So if you have a superannuation, you can have an ARS. But let's say you're a part of a company that is winding up now. They are no longer going to be contributing to the pension fund, and they're going to be hiring contract worker instead. You can have your superannuation lump sum transfer to an ARS to continue your pension. And I'm encouraging everybody who has that option. Those millions look really nice to have when your company is going to give it to you. But when you transfer that to your bank account, you lose 25% tax if you don't transfer it to an ARS. Everybody say, I want to buy a house, I want to put on a room, I want to put a taxi on the road. But I'm encouraging you, when that superannuation fund option is given to you, read the options and take the options that are going to be saving your tax. 25% tax of that amount is a lot of money. And once you send it to your bank account, it is no longer pension, it is now savings. So you can
Wow.
transfer it to your bank account now to a superannuation to say, I want to contribute my pension. What I would encourage is that you find out if there are any other surplus that you can get after that transfer and take that amount, but leave the lump sum in an ARS account. I do pensions, so I've had those opportunities and those experiences, and persons who have taken all options, take the money and sorry, and some have contributing and are happy with it because it is invested, so they're earning more on that money and they have continued to contribute to the fund. When it is that you're self-employed or it is that your company is contributing to the fund, you would have to do your own tax return because you know it is tax deferral, is a tax what should I say, benefit, because the tax come out before your pension, right? So it is that your pension come up before your tax, sorry. So it is a tax advantage for you to have. Even the more you contribute to your pension, when you look at your pay slip, you realize that you're paying more less taxes. And I want you guys to take note of that, because remember, the amount that is taxed is the amount that comes out after the pension. So let's say, for example, it's 100,000 you're paying and your pension is $10,000. The amount that is taxed is 90,000. So if you're taking out 20,000, the amount that is taxed would be 80,000. So you're paying less. So it is tax advantage, but if it is that you are doing it from your bank account or self-employed, then it is that you would have to file your own taxes at the end of the year. If it's a company that can do salary deduction, then again, you have the tax deferral option.
No, Sherne, you actually mentioned some persons who actually regretted taking that money. Do you have any examples of persons who, boy, it never really worked out when a retirement time?
A gentleman that did a superannuation with a certain company that I won't make mention took his pension a couple years ago. He's 6 years away from retirement now. So when he was younger, he left a previous company, and your pension is portable, guys. If you leave one company, you can transfer it to the next, or you can transfer it to an ARS. So when he left, he took that money, and now he's in a new company. 6 years to retirement. He said he's not making that mistake because what he did with that money was roof a leak, car need to fix, mother need this. It just, the money just went. Everything happened and that money just went. A young lady that I met recently left that company. She's very young. And she said, you know, I want to do the pension and they transfer it to my account now. I said, I can't help you at this point. What I can suggest is an investment, and you start with a new company, a new pension fund. If not, then you do a ARS. But that money, she said, as soon as she got it, she realized that the 25% tax came out and she had to spend $250,000 out of it, and she had to spend $20,000 here. So once you get, we know how it is. When we have money and we don't have plan for it and we don't plan around it, things are going to unfold and we just start spending. If you
Wow.
take a $5,000, it's done. So it's the same scenario. If you have a million and take 10,000 out of it, it's no longer a million.
True.
Wow.
And you're going to
That
keep
So
is
it.
true.
so the question is this. Where is the education for all of this? I mean, I will say this. You started off, and even at one point, you had to double back and correct yourself, right? So if you in a tailspin, quote unquote, how much more me? who's a layman, you understand? So who's
Yes.
there to really so obviously it's clear that we're gonna need financial advisors. Sure enough
Which
is
is yours
available.
truly.
All right. Boy, that look like a fourth show. So 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 that's one thing. But then yeah, where is this advice? This AR, I've never heard of the ARS, I think you called it. And all of these things. So where are all of these things that persons are not hearing about or maybe are uneducated about?
So the ARS is available with companies like a Sagicor. So you won't find it at the the FSC or NIS or NHD. You won't find it there. So you'll find it with companies like a Sagicor, where, as I said, for persons, because maybe it is that your company is contributing pension, so you wouldn't be qualified for an ARS. So persons who are employed and the employer is contributing to a pension fund on your behalf and you're matching, it means that you wouldn't qualify for an ARS. The ARS is for persons who are not yet a part of a pension scheme, the company is not doing a pension fund, or you're self-employed. So if
Okay.
you fall in that category, then you should be contributing to an ARS and you'll be
All right.
speaking to someone
So
like me.
we actually have Patricia on the line. She's actually on the telephone line. Patricia, can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon. I am
Are
sorry
you
the
there?
internet. Yes, I am here and thank you. The internet seems to be acting up.
Don't say which company it is, but we understand.
Ye-
Yes, and good afternoon to the listeners also.
Good afternoon to you and thank you for
Okay.
joining us.
Hey, Patricia.
Hi, Shani.
All right. So we
Okay, great. We're just going to allow you to jump right in the conversation. Um
sure.
sorry about that. So Shernet was actually going through the whole superannuation, the ARS, all of those very seemingly complicated terms that I hope our listeners and our viewers understand. Shernet, if they don't, well, I'm going to ask you to kind of break that down before we end this program. But I want to know, for you, in your perspective or in your opinion, does it make sense for anybody to actually try and retire early? Because based on what Shernet is saying, the longer you stay, the better off you are, because that's more money that you're putting into the fund, and the interest is compounding. Does it make sense for you to retire
Uh,
early? Is that
That's
wise?
for Patricia or for me?
That is for you, Patricia.
that's for Patricia. Okay. Well, I will take it from another end. Shani is certainly right in terms of the financial aspect of it. Because if you retire early, then in terms of unless you have really saved a lot and you have inherited a lot of money and that kind of a thing, then that's a different situation. But under normal circumstances, certainly somebody who is deciding to retire early is going to have to think of certain things like, for instance, what about your spouse? What about your friends? When you retire early, what happens? Who do you have to hang out with when everybody else is working? What are you going to retire early and do? You have to recognize that you're going to have another 30 years or so, and you have to consider aspects of that nature. So it's not just in terms of the money alone. You have to think in terms of your whole social life when you decide in terms of retiring early or not. What one of the things though is that there are a number of people who have retired early to go on to something else, and that is something that is very can be very satisfying, because you can retire early and you can go on and do something that is your passion, something that you had wanted to do for a long time or wanted to do earlier. There are a number of theological of ministers of the gospel now who have retired from their substantive jobs and gone into theological college, and they are now pastors.
Right.
So it's not.
So early retirement can create other job opportunities. That's what you're ultimately saying.
That is the crux of the matter. So we're not going to retire to put our feet up and look and go to the beach and
Exactly.
chillax. No, we're retiring to work again. Oh gosh.
It's
But
kind
before
of
we
it's kind of
continue, we have a voice note from Melcy Wisdom. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Question: do you pay tax when you are a pensioner, and why?
Let me answer that question. Yes, you have to pay tax because what happens is that everybody gets the first 1.5 million tax free. So if your pension is under 1.5 million, then you would not pay tax on it. But if it is in excess of 1.5 million, and of course there are also two relief. You have an $80,000 relief because of your age if you're 65 and over, and then there is an $80,000 relief because you're a pensioner. You're in an approved pension scheme. So in addition to the 1.5 million, the 1,500,000, then you also have the 80,000 relief. But anything beyond that, you have to pay tax on it.
Wow. Do you know
Remember,
that I
guys,
thought that you didn't
remember,
have to pay tax after you retired?
no,
I
remember
honestly
that
thought
you
so.
were tax deferred at the beginning when you were contributing. So you're going to be paying tax at the back end.
no, no, Shernette, I like you. In fact, I love you, and I wanted to bring you back for a fourth and fifth show. But that is something that grinds my gears. That's so they set you up initially, and then they pull it back out at the back end. I mean, it's really you really not.
Wow.
You
But
know
look
what?
at it.
That's
In your
that's
older
cool.
years, you'll be paying less tax than in your younger years. So you would have been deferred in your younger years and pay less in your older years at retirement.
Well, Shernette, it's strong.
No,
But we have a
no,
question. We actually have a question
we
from
like to ask the
Lashana
question.
Barnes, and it says, "What would you suggest to a person that is not appointed, therefore not entitled to a government pension?"
What does she mean appointed? Meaning she's on contract?
Maybe that's what she means.
Yeah.
That there's no
And
pension scheme that is set
exactly.
up for
So
her
I
at her
spoke
workplace.
to the ARS, which is called the Approved Retirement Scheme. And that young lady needs to call someone like a Shernette Clark where we can get her started on her pension. And if our employer is not doing a pension fund, then we need to speak to the staff where we get everybody started on an approved retirement scheme because that can be facilitated through salary deduction. Once the employer will allow that, they are also tax exempt.
And I realize that many persons are either left on contract, they're
Yeah.
not taken on staff because that is for whatever reason added for the company, and that's more on their books. So many persons are more than likely in that position, especially
Right.
with the how things are set up now, the virtual space, a lot of dynamics. So that is probably really, as you mentioned, Trinette, a good option to explore.
The ARS. Just call
Yes.
me and say ARS.
And you also need to add to that the persons who are self-employed,
Right.
because
Yes,
there are a lot
I've
of
said that before.
self-employed people in Jamaica here who are
Yes,
not.
yes. You join
You had
after
mentioned
Patricia.
that before.
Yes, she mentioned that. So you're doubling down. That is the two agreeing. You weren't here, so you're speaking in the spirit, man. Joining and partnering. That's exactly what Shernette mentioned. But we're fast approaching a break. But before we do that, why all this planning? Persons are planning. What are the pros and cons of, if we could, a regular retirement versus early retirement, and some of the sacrifices that persons have to make in accordance to doing that? You think? Can go with Shernette first, and then we wrap the segment up with
So
Patricia.
the the pros and the cons. Age 65 is the retirement age. So the longer you keep that pension here and even overseas, compound interest building up on that money that you have there is the more money you will have for retirement, because when you retire at 65, as Patricia had mentioned, you can live until you're 95, So that's 30 years you will need money for your basic necessities, and your medical bills may be higher than what they were in your working years. So you have to factor that in. If you were working $1 million per month and your expenses are 500,000, when you get into retirement, what does that look like? And plus, we're not talk about travel and leisure time. You're gonna need money. Retiring early, as was mentioned, and I will just you know, expound on it a bit, is that it gives you opportunity. If it is that the current job you're in, you're probably not marketable in a number of years, or you're really not passionate about it, it gives you opportunity to move on. And maybe even as an entrepreneur, in terms of it can be beneficial to you. So if the job market doesn't remain favorable to you as an older employee after working for many years, you have options now in terms of leisure time, travel, and retirement. Retiring early, and some persons who retire early, it's even better for their health.
True.
And even changing jobs. So those are the pros.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Patricia wrap up, but I was thinking, if someone goes in at much older, so they're retiring, and you're gonna say you're gonna take vacation time now, you're probably gonna be where someone was like sleeping, going on the gondola. I mean, you're gonna be so old, so you have to try, mix it and balance. But Patricia, some of the
Mix and
sacrifices,
balance.
yeah, the sacrifices that persons would have to make. And what are you looking at? What are we looking at in terms of the sacrifice?
Let me tell you, if you want to retire early, you're going to have to be saving and saving a whole lot out of your salary. You have to be investing. You're probably gonna have to take a second job, and you're also going to have to cut down on your expenses.
Yes.
If you want to retire early, that is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to live very frugally, right? And you have to take on a second job, take on some sort of something else.
Patricia, you know worth it. It's not worth it. It's not
I
worth
couldn't
it.
agree more though. That's it.
What you know what I think we need to break down what retire from what exactly. Is that retire to your own thing, or retire completely to put your feet up? What
We're talking about retiring. If you're talking about retiring to put your feet up,
right.
then obviously you're gonna have to make some significant sacrifices in those early years.
Right,
But
Exactly.
what I'm suggesting is that in fact, you can decide to retire to do something else.
Okay.
Got you.
So, so this is what I'm getting from you. So if you want to retire early to do something that you probably love, but that is also lucrative.
Right.
Yes. And
Yes.
investing, as Patricia said, and saving, compound interest is your friend.
All right.
IPO, APOs, stocks, you will have to
Hold
be.
it. You're on a roll, We take time. All right, we'll be back with. I hope you haven't forgotten to share how you plan to retire. That's our social media request of you this evening. WhatsApp, text, and voice notes no longer than 30 seconds, please, to 876-997-3125. You can watch us live and comment on our Love 101 Facebook and YouTube pages, or call the lines, to the lines 968-8327 or 8328 to participate. I encourage you to call a friend, get a friend on the Facebook, FLM Family Life Ministries. Follow us on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries, FLMJA. The numbers for the offices are 9201034 or 9268101. Time is 6 p.m. We'll be going for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Connect with data to do whatever you like with the new and improved Digicel Prime Broader bundles. Get lots of data for streaming and sharing with more data for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and more. In other words, your data can done, even if you have to hotspot a friend or two. Enjoy all your favorite apps on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate a Prime Water bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 from your digital phone or in the My Digital app. Digicel, made in Jamaica.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Rio Grande to the South Coast, hotel workers and man wear off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Take a tourism pension plan, building towards the future. Tourism workers across the island, and benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, and self-employed contract. For your service, you deserve security. Yes, you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes, you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest through contributions. All tourism workers, age 18 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926-30.
Grace Mackerel, you're my number one. Like, love you, yeah. Time by Grace Mackerel is
6:02 p.m. Welcome back to all the persons that are listening on the radio. If you're viewing us on YouTube, if you're viewing us on FB, welcome back. I mean, people are just talking, they're just giving their comments, and we are just loving it. We have actually a voice note, but I am going to take the comments that I'm seeing on Facebook first. So Enid Moncrief says, "Good evening. I have retired at age 55 and I used to pay a special tax and NIS tax. And at age 64, I can't get my NIS pension because everything has changed." Wow, that's not encouraging at all. Enid, I really hope that you get that sorted out. And she actually made another comment, and it says, "Listening to what you are saying sounds great, but don't make any sense because nobody in Jamaica over age 35 years have anything to look forward to because Jamaica only cater for ages 18 to 25 years old." Boy, Enid, I wish you all the best. I don't know how you can get some help, but I am really hoping that someone will be able to assist you.
That sounds a bit that could be anecdotal in terms of just her personal experience, but
Yes.
As I said, there could be some challenges with the system itself. Hopefully we can get some clarity from our wonderful guests, but there's much more that needs to be done, I think, in terms of correcting of the overall system, and I think that's where the problem lies. Go ahead with the rest of them, Audra.
All right, and we have Correct Panton that says, if you are not working, can you pay ARS? And I think the answer to that question is well,
if you're not working,
or Shernet answer. If you're not working, so if you don't have a job, if you're unemployed, can you be a part of the ARS? And that is something that Patricia and Shernet would need to answer. Patricia, Shernet.
I think we also have a voice note as well.
Oh, okay.
Another voice note. Can go ahead, studio.
When tax is being taken out of your little when you're retired, are you entitled to claim for anything within 10 or 11 years?
Why does it take the relevant ministry so long for people to get their pension?
That's it? Okay, so I think...
Can I add some or say something with the tax matter?
Okay, go ahead, Patricia. You can.
I think that the persons who are having tax taken out of their pension, you are required to file a tax return every year. So you will be filing your tax return, and it actually should be done by the 15th of March. And when you file your tax return, that is when you will declare the pension. And what will happen is that if your total is less than 1.5 million, then that's 1,500,000. Then you would ultimately not be paying any tax at all. You would get a tax refund. I suspect that what is happening to some people is that they are not filing any return. So if they don't file the annual return, they take out the tax, of course, as a withholding tax. But it's when you file the annual return that they will determine what sort of relief you get.
Okay.
And that might be the problem.
Thank you very much for that, because I don't think that people know that they should be filing their annual returns. I've not heard anybody say that since we have been on or commented on that. So thank you very much, Patricia. So for all the persons who are retired and you are still paying tax as is expected, you need to be filing your annual returns, and then that may impact the amount of tax that is coming out of your pay, or out of your pension, I should say. Now, there was a question that I think was aimed at Shernette, which is that if it is that you're not, can you be a part of the ARS?
What would you be contributing to the ARS if you're not working?
Ma'am,
You come by.
hello. In the meantime, I have family. I have MoneyGram.
So remittance. So you're declaring the remittance. Well, if you're declaring the remittance as earnings, then you can contribute to the fund.
Must be
But
something.
again, we're going to be calculating based on the gross annual remittance, or the money, the income, wherever the money is coming from. And of that amount, we're going to decide if you're going to be contributing 5% or 10% or up to 20% of that annual amount to the ARS.
Okay, so this is what I want.
But in that case, because you're not employed, you won't be able to get the tax advantage. So you would have to file your returns to get back that money at the end of the year.
So this is what I want to make clear. If it is that you are not working, you're not self-employed, it means that you're going to have to file taxes out of the money that you're getting from wherever you're getting it. And then
so it is a return. So you'll be paying the taxes up front, the amount, everything. But then if you want to get the tax advantage option, because it would have been at the front in terms of if you're contributing through an employer, then it is a tax advantage. But because you don't have that option, you'll have to pay everything up front and file before March 15 each year.
Okay, Shernette, for some reason, I don't think I'm understanding what you're saying.
So for the gentleman who said he's not working.
Give me an example.
He's getting money from Western Union and getting 100,000 a month.
Yes.
So we're going to be calculating the growth for the year. So it could be $1 million.
Yes.
Of that million, we're going to be deciding whether he's contributing 5%, 10%, or up to 20% of that amount to his ARS on a monthly basis. Before March 15 or by March 15 each year, he would file his return to get back that tax that he has paid on the ARS. So it's just the taxable amount.
Okay. All right. I think I'm understanding now. All right. So that answers that question.
Sorry. So for those who have not filed over the period of time that Patricia was speaking about, them get knocked, or they can file for the periods that have
They
gone by.
can file, but because there are penalties applied now for the years that you have not filed your returns, they may owe the government or probably end up not getting anything, because it is 5,000 every month that you have not filed. So if you file for 2014,
you stress me.
2016, there are penalties.
Stress me. What?
There are penalties, so depending on the years that you're declaring for.
Oh my! Why this thing sounds?
They will actually go back 7 years because the statute of limitations would apply.
Okay, they can only they can only do up to 7 years.
No, Enid Moncrief filing tax returns from stuff from no there. I get my returns on a yearly basis. I make sure that I file by the 15th and I get back money. So that's not true. I am a recipient of money when I do my returns. The type of business that I do, and you must know the type of business that you do. If your car is an expense to your business, if putting gas in your car affects anything that is pertaining to your business, that is an expense, you're going to file your returns and you can get back money once you can prove. Because I keep every gas receipt, I keep every battery receipt, every tire receipt. So you have to make sure when you file, when the auditors call you, you can provide the information.
And you see, I think that is what people really don't know these things. Who keeps receipts?
Right,
I
right.
A lot
do.
of people don't keep receipt. You just that's it when you finish.
Hold
And
on,
these
hold
are things that are important for you to
hold
get.
on, Raj.
For 2020.
So Shernet, who is the iconic advisor? You must say go keep the receipt, Shernet. Come on.
Yes, I have a shoebox for
You would say
2022
so. You would say so, right?
because I get back money.
Right. No, completely understood. But again, I think it goes back to what I said earlier, because sometimes we're all guilty of discarding, but you have to understand one, what correlates to your business. So what are you using for the business and that you can actually claim for, because you can't
Yes,
claim for any
and
all and sundry. You can't
TJ
claim.
is not going to call you and tell you that you have money there. Last year I have filed for 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Did not get back any money and I did not owe them any money because I said I was fine. But when I approached my accountant last year, I got monies for 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 all in one. It was a beautiful transfer. So you can file, and because I had filed, I wasn't charged any penalties. It's just that the checks never reach me and then return and then don't call me and tell me that I have money.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to know, you have to file.
We're
Because I'm
pausing.
not giving away money.
Because
But that's a whole
we have
nother
some comments from WhatsApp. We have
that's a
some
whole
comments
nother
from WhatsApp because now you are opening a can of worms.
I
Both
tell
of
you,
you, Patricia and Shernette, you're opening a can of worms. So we have one
about
from
it.
Spanish Town. He says, "Good afternoon. For those who are government employees, they do not deduct pension until you are appointed." So I think that was to the point that we read earlier. I worked in a government job for a little over 14 years. For the first 4 years, I was neither on contract nor in a post. So tithing to get. I was placed on contract for 3 years, got my gratuity for that. Then after a while, a post was created and I was placed in that. When I retired, I had only 4.5 years of pension paid that I got.
Wow. Oh my God.
That rough.
Um,
That
well, let
rough.
me say something
That's where the ERS come in.
in
Go
terms
ahead.
of the contract workers. In terms of the contract workers, when you get an end of contract gratuity, that is actually in lieu of pension, an end of contract bonus or an end of contract gratuity under a contract is thought of in lieu of. So really, you should not be taking that money and spending it on consumerism. That money it should be actually put for your long term retirement funding.
That's why you all need a financial advisor.
Whoa, like me, that hurt me already. I'm young, me not retire yet, but boy,
Lady Enid said
it's
I'm too young to know what's going on. Lady Enid, if I tell you the age of turnover,
I think we need to start educating our children because you need to know this before you're 18. You
my
need to know this
children are going to
information
be
before you're
contributing
18.
at age 18. That's what I said. I am going to be doing
Wow.
things differently. And the information that we get on platforms like these, and people will say, thank you for the information, and end up doing nothing differently.
And we hope that that is not the case for today. But we're going to be running into our break. You are tuned to Love 101, and we are talking about retiring early. You have been watching Family Time. Please, on Love 101, YouTube and FB, it's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us, how do you plan to retire? We don't get an answer for that question yet, but the questions that we are getting, they are mind blowing, and I want you to continue to send in your voice notes and your questions. Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, of course, no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8 to participate. We're also on FB and YouTube Live, obviously. We want to hear from you. Don't go away. We're going to continue talking about retiring early with Shernette Clark and Patricia Reedwar right after this break.
It's the season of Lent, and the Christian community remembers this time with fasting and prayer by denying the body of food to honor God. But how does this work, and what is expected? What are we allowed to do during any fasting period? Tuesday, March 1 on The Rock, join guest host Clinton Chisholm and guests Reverend Lawrence Madden and Harry Walcott as they discuss the topic spiritual fasting. That's The Rock, Tuesday, March 1 at 10 a.m. on the Family Station. Love 101.
It's back. It's back. It's back.
Campus Connection is back because we are on the move.
I'm Vanessa.
I am Jonathan.
And we are your new hosts
for Campus Connection.
You don't want to miss this new season of Campus Connection. Come Tuesday, March 1 at 5:30 p.m.
right here on Love 101, the family station. We are back.
We are back.
We are back.
We are the last one campus.
And we are back. Thank you very much for staying with us, mighty God. O'Neill, it has been a mind-blowing experience so far.
Yeah, it has been absolutely as I said, mind-blowing. There's been something else. What these ladies have been telling us, it's as I said, open up a can of worms. I say a bucket and and a half, and then there's so much that we haven't even gotten into. We haven't even scratched the surface. So there's so much more to speak about that time definitely will not allow. So Shernette, you remember Mr. Part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah, it looks that way.
Definitely, we need one.
Right.
We need one.
Right.
And of course, the time is now 6:18 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101, and it is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Now, FLM provides counseling for people all over the world with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program, and remember, we're on FB and YouTube Live. So tune into the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Shernette Clark, financial advisor, and Patricia Reed-Waugh, author and retirement guru, are our guests. And indeed, they have been just feeding us with information that we didn't know, that we needed to know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so and before we get the ladies back on to wrap towards the back end, we have another voice note. I think we have a couple of messages that we need to get through as well. So go ahead with the voice note, please, studio, or whatever voice notes are outstanding.
Hello, good evening. I have a very important question, if it counts. If someone lives abroad and they want to open a retirement account, is it possible? And what procedures can be taking place for this?
I just want to thank this station, Love 101. This is an eye-opener. I didn't know all of this. Sometimes ago, I had filed for some tax, and I have not heard anything since. And I've been paying tax since how many years? I've never gotten anything. So am I entitled, like right now, to file? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My eyes are now open. I just
Is that a third one coming in, or that's it? Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Wow. The words words escape me. That speaks what it speaks to exactly what you ladies were speaking about. And again, Sharonet and Patricia by extension. Unfortunately, I've been completely underinformed. Audrey the same, and listening to these persons who are much, it sounds much older than we are,
Yeah.
the years, and they are not informed at all. I have a little
Right.
of knowing some things, and these persons are completely oblivious, which is absolutely sad. So is it that um we have to have, just like promotions, when you talk about on the television, the commercials, the advertisements, speaking to these things, getting persons to places where they have the symposiums, the forums where they can learn about these things, because this clearly is lacking. And I don't want anyone to come at me, but sometimes it seems, just like when I was working in particular a job space, when persons do not know that they can claim for things, that's more money for me as opposed to you filing and getting what you need to get. So at the end of the day, my coffers are filled, while you, uninformed and also lacking the knowledge you need to have, you are missing out, and that's completely sad.
Ignorance
Before you
for
pick up,
not bliss.
I'm sharing it, and Patricia, someone said, I didn't think, I'm not sure if you read this, Audrey, you can correct me. Yvonne Coleman, did you read that one?
No, but we haven't read the. So go ahead with
Right.
Yvonne. I'll
So,
do the
so
other
I
one.
think, yeah, you read the one above. We can double check, but it says, "Good evening. Why is it so difficult to start getting NIS pension after retirement? I know someone who retired 4 years and still can't get it." So that's one to think of. The other one above, I think, is, "Good afternoon, family time. Suppose you were working at a school for 20 years in the tuck shop as a contract worker. I think if I learned anything, is that that's the same thing where you guys are speaking of, even though you're not getting from the employer, you can still file. But I mean, it's again the schools. There's so many persons. I remember back in my day, the tuck shop workers, the person,
Yes.
even the person selling the sweets on the outside. Everyone is doing something, but they're missing out. Go ahead, Sharon.
I think the reality is, O'Neill and Audra and Patricia, is that back in the days, and I'm going to be stepping on some times, is that parents were using their children as pension.
Wow. Wow.
So my children are going to come and work and take care of me, and we
Enough
don't
people can't just step on in a sharing it. Enough people can't just step on. Enough.
Hold on, a popcorn. We get a popcorn.
I didn't mean to offend anyone, but that's the
It was
reality.
facts, yeah.
And if I have 2 children, the more children I have, the more pension I'm going to get. And we don't realize that our children can predecease us.
Yes.
And our children have their responsibilities, their families, their dependents to take care of. And what if they are also ailing, illness? And so we have to think more or less that we don't want to leave a burden. And it's the same thing with insurance. You leave a burden on people when you die. So you want to make sure that your financial portfolio is in place where pension contributing, that when old age, and it's not just old age, some persons become disabled, unable to work in the occupation that they're qualified for or trained for. So they're qualified for pension and even death. So your beneficiaries can benefit. And that is the reality, that we don't have the education. I have had teachers, I went to a particular school and the principal would not allow me to present to the teachers. And my son was a part of that school. And it was last year during the pandemic, one of the teachers said she was going through and she found my number and she wanted to know how my son was. She hasn't heard anything. She don't know where he is. And I went through my sons because I keep a portfolio for them, all their reports right up to where they are. So I went back and I looked and I told her what she wrote on the report for my son. And she said she's now retired and she's getting $19,000 a month because the school did not contribute to pension. She's only getting from the NIS. Lights are cut off. Sometimes she don't have no food. Yes, her children, her son and daughter help her. But a teacher that has taught for so many years, $19,000, water come out of my eye. So I said, you didn't know? She said, they wouldn't know that. when I was coming there, she wouldn't know that she could talk to me because this woman would tell them not to talk to me, and she also had them sign a contract not to get pension. Sometimes it's the employer that is responsible. Sometimes it is us.
I would
Patricia,
like to add something to that.
Yes, go ahead, Patricia.
Yes, I think one of the problems we have in this country is that employers are not having retirement seminars with their staff.
Yes, yes.
It is very important. Every employer in this country should have a retirement seminar with their staff every so many years. You know, every 3 years, because you have new staff that come on. And you're not waiting to have it with staff who is 60 years old. You must
Yes.
have it
with the ones that are just coming in, the young ones.
We need to start in universities, as a matter of fact.
I think we're not hearing Patricia.
They can understand that they need to plan for it. They need to make contributions, their voluntary contributions, that they should up it as far as possible. Because most of the people only contribute the minimum. And they don't even recognize that there is a maximum that they can contribute. And if they have the wherewithal and they don't have that much financial responsibility, then you should be doing that. And there may come a time when you buy your house. If you buy your house, then you can pull back down your contributions to the minimum until you settle off the mortgage, and you're comfortable with paying the mortgage. You get your salary increases and the mortgage becomes less burdensome. But these are the things that employees need to know, and the employer should be sponsoring retirement seminars.
Wow.
If our employers are not doing it, I'm encouraging your viewers and your listeners, you need to have a finance, just as how you have your lawyer, you need to have a list of people that you work with. So you have your financial advisor, because financial advisors work along with lawyers. So you need to have those persons in your back pocket. And you guys have a forum called Campus Connection. We need to start from the schools, where we start educating persons who are going in the working force what is required of them to start their financial planning. So we can't rely on the employers alone, because they're only thinking about profits. So we have to educate them going in. So they are now approaching the employers, asking the questions, making the suggestions in terms of their financial profile. Just like how I don't like GoFundMe. GoFundMe takes the fight out of my hand, takes the decision out of my hand. I'm waiting on you to contribute on my fund so I can deal with my treatment and getting well. It's the same thing with pension. You need to put the responsibility on yourself to find out and to have a financial advisor, get the advice, because they are just thinking about profits, their company benefiting. And that's why they have these contract periods. They don't have to be paying out. Now, if they don't have that option, you make sure that you get on an ARS. If it is at their start, you can merge the funds or you can continue in their ARS.
That sounds like a very...
This is the reason why I wrote my most recent book that has just been published. It's called Retirement, the Journey and the Destination, because I'm targeting the younger people, because I want them to understand what retirement is all about so that they can start planning for it. And that is the objective of the book.
So Patricia, where can we get this book? Where can we get this book to get more information, just in case we can't get it?
It's available at Readers Bookshop. Readers Bookshop in Ligani Plaza, and it's also available from me.
Okay.
And I'm on social media, Patricia Reed War, and I'm on social media, all the social media platforms. Just put in my name, and you will find me.
And can you repeat the title of the book again?
Pardon me?
Can you repeat the title of the book?
Retirement, the Journey and the Destination.
Retirement, the Journey and the Destination. If you didn't like to read, I assure you this is a book especially if you're young, that you need to read. And not only if you're young, but if you're retired as well, because I'm sure there are tips that you can garner from this book to help you even in your state of retirement. And the time has gone. Where has it gone? But we have to wrap up. No, oh my Lord. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we need to definitely have a part two, because this is
I may tell you no.
this is a lot.
I
You
told
can
you,
go
I
ahead and
told
take
you,
us out,
I
Oli.
told you, no, say we have to go call the part 3 and 4. So,
Part
guys,
three
this
and
was
four.
absolutely amazing. Thank you, first and most, to Shernet Clark and to Patricia Reed
Oh, by
Wall.
the way, my
Yes, go ahead.
platforms, Iconic Insurance, Instagram, Shirley Higgins Clark, Facebook, the Iconic Advisor, YouTube, and the Financial Advisor, again, Facebook. So anywhere, slide in the DMs if you need the help. I saw Enid. Enid, I think you need to call me. She has a lot of questions.
All
Yeah.
right. Thanks for that, ladies. So, quickly, thank you to my co host, Audra, or I'm being the co host, me jumping, Audra. Reach out to Family Life Ministries for our centers in Portmore, 117 Cecile Avenue, 876-939-7917. Head office is 920-1034 and 926-8101. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries, Instagram FLMJA, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. 5:30 p.m. next week, same time on Love 101, Facebook and YouTube Live. Our Love 101 Facebook and Love 101 YouTube channel and page for more information. Thanks again to our special guests, Shernet Clark, Patricia Reedwall, and also to show producer Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications studio facilitator Timoy Butler, and of course to you. Audra Williams is out of here, and so am I, O'Neill Campbell. Thanks for being with us. Take care. God bless. Any last words, Audra? Tell them bye-bye.
Bye.